Welcome to After the Last Dog. I am Dara Forleo, and we are talking about the business side of grooming and pet care after all those appointments are done. The questions, the pricing decisions, the clients' conversations, standards that keep getting missed, and the things that all of us owners end up solving over and over and over again. Each episode, we are going to look at one problem area that we see in grooming and pet care and what may be causing it, plus one small action item that you can use in your business right away after this episode. Because after all, a busy salon still needs a business behind it. All right, so going on with our teams and hiring and our culture, have you ever looked at that empty grooming table and thought, I am losing money? That is why I'm losing money. Or if you're mobile, you're looking at a van that should be producing, but is still sitting there without the right person in it. And that is what so much pressure that gets added to us just having it being not even an operation or filled. It just, you can't take more dogs. You can't take those clients. You have to say no. You can't say yes, right? Money that should be coming in, but it's not. And if you are still grooming behind the table yourself, that empty space, that becomes your problem. You take more dogs. You squeeze one more in. You stay later. You work on your day off. Am I telling you anything you don't already know? Because you keep telling yourself, oh, I just have to get someone in here. And maybe you do need another groomer. You do need somebody in there. But here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Are you hiring to fill an empty table, or are you hiring for the help your salon actually needs? Those are not the same thing, right? So let's start with the money. Nobody likes to talk about money, right? Because we feel that first as owners. An empty table, an empty van, that has a cost. And that cost comes back on us. The missed appointments, those are a cost. Again, you can't book clients. You have to turn dogs away. The revenue is just not coming in, and that costs you. And the bills, we all know, they don't pause just because there's nobody there to do the work, right? Payroll still is due, rent is still due, insurance, payments, everything. We still have to make everything work. So when someone says, it's just an empty table, well, as an owner, we see that different. We see that very different. As owners, we see what that table is supposed to be paying for. And that's why hiring gets very, very emotional. You can't stop the bleeding of the business quickly. And when you are trying to stop that bleeding, available really is easy to look at and go, qualified, I'll take them. And that's a nice start, but it's not a good fit. Experience, really? Oh, that looks great. Perfect, come on in. Someone who can start next week? Great, that fills that spot, and now I got a solution. But fast relief comes with an even more expensive repeat problem. Yes, it costs you more because that table might get filled and you might start bringing in, but you know what? You're still carrying everything because you might be starting to look at client problems, missed notes, bathing rooms are getting backed up, timing issues, the dog that needs some extra help. There's some cleanup that didn't happen. The new person knows how to groom, but does not know how your salon works. And that's where you start losing money again. Now it is not just having an empty table or an empty van. It is because the hiring was wrong. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Isn't that exciting? It is you as the owner stepping back and trying to fill that gap quickly. Don't do it. That has money problems. The new person you just hired, they know how to groom, but they don't know how your salon works. And that's where the costs really start adding up. Now, in an estimate, this is a report done by Gallup. They estimated that replacing one employee can cost 1.5 to 2 times that person's annual salary. That number is not grooming specific, and every salon will be different, right? But the point is, turnover is not free. It still costs you money. And filling it with the wrong kind of help increases the cost of that table. Here is where so many owners get caught up, okay? We expect someone to know how to work because they know how to groom. So we just expect that. And that's not the same thing. A person can know how to groom and be extremely talented and not know how your salon operates. That's the key there. They may not know how you want your dogs checked in or how you want that client checked in. They don't know how you want your notes written. They don't know how you want them to, what am I trying to say? They don't know how you want them to use your product or dilute your product or clean their space or what products to use or how you like the dogs washed or how you like the dryers being worked or how they clean in between and sanitize and disinfect. They don't know how you want things done. And they're not going to ask. Most people aren't going to ask. They are just going to guess. So when I talk about training, I am not talking about the physical act of grooming or how you want the grooms done. I am not saying that every owner has to teach every single haircut or every pattern or whatever, right? Because you know that. But you still have to have an onboarding training platform or some type of onboarding. And that's not just, here's the employee handbook, have fun. That means this is how we do things. That is what onboarding is. That's it. And I have heard a lot of people in our industry say, oh, it's a corporate buzzword. Oh, it's just corporate stuff. No, it's not. It is not a 30-page handbook that nobody reads. It is not corporate. It is just the basic things a person needs to know before they can be expected to do the job. Everybody needs to have an onboarding process for your business. How does the dog move through the day? What happens at check-in? What gets written down? How are my notes being written down? What does the bather do? And when does they pass off to the groomer? When does the groomer contact the front desk or contact the owner? Like, you have to know how everything works in your salon to be able to teach that. And that is why one new hire could fill a table and still not take any pressure off you as the owner. Because just because they can finish dogs, it does not mean they are not going to come back to you with 50 million questions about, what do I do? How do I do this? How do you want this done? Or they don't even ask at all and they just guess, and then you're left with, why didn't they know this? Have you ever found yourself asking that question? What is it? Why? Why didn't they do this? Why can't they see this? How come? We've talked about this a lot in these episodes. They need to be told how things should be done. Now, again, I know People hear words like this onboarding and processing and training path, but it's actually role support. And people think corporate, 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 corporate. Oh my God, so corporate. But that could not be further from the truth, okay? It could not be further from the truth. This is not corporate jargon. This is how jobs work. Jobs. Every single other place you go into, corporate or not, they teach you how they want things done. If you have ever worked in a restaurant, you were not tossed onto the floor and said, go, sit, there you go. Nobody threw you onto the floor and said, oh, you're going to be a server today? Great, welcome. There's your tables. They may not have even said, oh, you've carried plates before? Great, figure out the menu. Oh, do you know how our table numbers work here? Oh, our drink station, this is how our drink station, that's it over there. Go have fun. Figure out how to fix that. Figure out how to get it cleaned. Figure out everything on your own, and then here's your 4-table section or your 5-table section, and oh, here's our register. You can figure out how to use that on your own. Oh, do you need help talking to the cooks? Do you need, your busser? Yeah, you have to tip your busser. Oh, we don't tip bussers here? Like, you got to know what's going on, right? They do not just shove you out on the floor and say, have fun. They have an opening routine. They have a closing routine. They have routines for how a station is set up, how the tables are prepped, how everything is stored, where things are stored, how you move into the restaurant kitchen, how you move out of the kitchen, how you go to the bar, how you order from the bar, how you get your drinks from the bar to your table. Who does that? How does that look like? Who carries your food out in what we used to call it, getting in the reeds or getting in the weeds. That's what it was. Or what happens when you're busy and somebody's looking for ketchup and you don't know where the ketchup is. Where's that stored? You have to know all of these little things. So you spend 4 weeks learning your way around that restaurant before you get your own station. You learn and follow a server who is teaching you how we talk to customers, how we talk to support staff, how we talk to the general managers, how we cash out, how we clean this, how we do that. Everything is right there. And there is a list. Everything about this. Doesn't matter if it's McDonald's, if it's a private company, if it's a small, little, tiny breakfast location or a lunch location or a luxury restaurant. Everybody knows what to do and how to do it because they are onboarded. They are trained to the process of how we do it. Okay, enough. I am getting way into that. So now we know if you've ever worked at a restaurant, grooming salons are no different. Okay, we need to do that. And every business has its own way of working, and you have your own way of doing things in your salon. So you should be showing people this is how we do it. And you build that time and pricing of someone who is not productive when they come on for training, that you're not losing money off of them because you've built it into your price. We do not think about these things as owners when we come from other grooming salons and feel like we need to charge the same price as Sally across the street because Sally might not have employees. Sally probably doesn't have your overhead. Sally probably may not want to make the money that you want to make. And the other thing is, Sally may not want to have a general manager. Sally might not want to have a front desk receptionist. Sally isn't onboarding or training her people to do what you are doing for your people. So you build that in to your pricing. And this is where I say you have to know how to price yourself. This has nothing to do with what your value is as a person or a groomer. This has everything to do with how you make money as a business owner. We don't get into business to not make money. We have to still earn a living, and it's okay for those who want to make money, for those who want to grow, for those who want to build companies or businesses that thrive, and you have something to leave to someone, and you should be proud of those businesses. Whew, okay, so professional service. This is protecting our work and protecting what you have built. And if you want someone to do it your way, you have to show them. Not once. It's not just once. It is not in rushed. Oh, you're drawing that doodle and answering the phone and doing this and doing that and washing the dog and cleaning the floor. And oh my God, look what's going on. Everything all over the place. Not by saying, just watch what we do. Just watch. This is how we do it. No, you have to slow it down. You have to teach them. Just like anything else, we all have to be taught these things. Because if you don't show them how your salon works, then they bring in the habits from their old place. And now those habits get passed on to everybody because habits are hard to break. It takes 90 days to break a habit. It takes 90 days to develop a new habit. You have a 30, 60, 90-day onboarding process so that your team is, I'm going to say, practically perfect in every way. This is how people maintain and keep groomers. Okay, let's talk about the revolving door. Hire, hope, train a little, get frustrated, cover the table, post again, interview again, start all over. Woo, the cycle. It's expensive. It's never ending. It is not just $1. It costs you time. It costs you attention. It costs your team members. It costs everyone because they are tired of helping new people who don't stay. You ever heard that? Oh, I'm just so tired of training people and then they leave. What are we training them on? How to groom or how to be a good employee in your space? It is going to cost everything, your dogs, your clients, because they are now seeing this inconsistency. They are seeing all of this go on, and it is going to cost you because the work lands once again back on you. So many of you probably know this company, DaySmart Pet Staffing, right? You know DaySmart. And so they have an entire booklet on this that you can find and see. And in that, it says that 75% of employers of small businesses face challenges, of course, filling roles, high turnover, disengagement from employees, right? Difficulty finding good groomers or trained groomers. This is what we're all experiencing all over. It also points to the stress inside this work. This says 87% of the professionals are passionate about their jobs. We know that, but 64% of them experience high stress in small salons. And why does this matter? Because a person can love the work. They can love what they do, and they still burn out because they don't know what's going on. They're left constantly wondering what's next, what's going to happen, who's going to explode, who's going to come in with drama, who's going to ask another question or do the same thing, who is going to leave stuff for me to clean up, and that's all I ever do. They're not getting burnt out on dogs and grooming. They're burnt out on the business. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, go look on their website. All of this information is there. It reports that labor productivity in pet care services fell 30% from 2004 to 2021. So while the industry is continuing to grow, there is more demand and less groomers to fill in this, right? We are not seeing the industry fill with new groomers. And you as a business owner, you as a salon owner, you are feeling all of this, okay? Oh, so I'm going to be direct here now. Pay matters. Pay is so important. People need to learn and earn a living. Our industry does not allow very many people to earn a good living. There are more hobby groomers than there are career groomers, and we need to change that language. If the pay is not right, you are going to have a hard time keeping people. If you don't have benefits, you are going to have a hard time keeping people. Oh, hey, this is hard. Okay. So there's some research that says, and I'm going to put all these links out there. Workers who quit their jobs, 63% of them said it was because of pay. 63% said it was because there was no opportunity for advancement. And 57% cited that they felt disrespected in their environments. Now, back to DaySmart. They are also saying 63% of workers leave because of the lack of career advancement. You can only groom so many dogs, right? And part of this is also that toxic work culture was listed under this, poor management or poor team leaders, and that people are burning out, and those are the reasons they are leaving a company. So, yes, we have to look at money. We have to look at the workday. We have to know all of this information. And can you grow from here as a groomer? Some people want these things. Some people, this is why people go and open their own business, because they don't like how things are being done in other places. So they want to be treated like a professional. And sometimes we just don't do that for each other. We see that on Facebook all the time. Okay, the moral of that story is good groomers stay longer in places where there is not a toxic work environment and where they are understood and allowed to do their work well, okay? Now, here's your action step for the week. Before you post another job, answer this or these questions. First, what is that empty table or van actually costing the business? Figure out how much you are losing, okay? Just be honest, look at the numbers, and just fill in that gap. Then, what does a new person need to learn about how we do things here before I expect them to do the job well? And write those answers down, because you have to know those. That could be just quick, jot them down. So look at those questions and think about that. And then ask yourself, are you hiring to fill the empty table, or are you building the help that lets the right person stay? Because a table may be able to be filled quickly, but the right help has to be built and created. That does not make you a corporate. It makes you easier to work for. It makes your salon easier to learn in. It makes your day easier. It makes good groomers more likely to trust you and your brand, and it protects the business you have worked so hard to build for. Okay, so that's it for today. After the last dog, before you move on to the next thing, take 1 minute and ask yourself, where is the same problem showing up in my business all the time? Let me know so we can talk about it, because you don't have to fix the whole business today. You can start with one thing at a time. One standard, one conversation, one decision. That's it. And until next time, I will see you after the last dog. And that is when all the most important work happens. Have a great day.